I agree with you, Robert. I think they should try to keep him. I think he's a draw for them. I think he's a great draw to the Spanish market, but I wouldn't get into a price bidding war for anybody. Alberto's going to do what's best for Alberto, and you can't blame him. I mean, I try to do what's best for me and my family. I know Alberto's, fairly wealthy in Mexico to begin with, but that is what it is. What comes of this will be interesting. I think if Page had not been forced to retire, I think that we wouldn't be having this conversation, because I don't think that they would have risked putting the two of them together. Right. It's just too many issues. But I wouldn't rule out WWE bringing him back with Page out of the way. So that's kind of my take on it. And the Eli Drake, look, this company has got to have somebody that's homegrown to build the company around that's going to stay. And, I've been reading on Asylum, people are saying, let's get Eli Drake a 10-year contract. That's not going to happen, right? But they need to keep him around for the next 10 years. They have to have that homegrown talent that they can just count on that's not going to come and go. Then they can use folks like Alberto El Patron and others to help to build him and give him folks to feud with, right? Matt Sydal is another guy that, I've always been very high on Matt Sydal. I just think he's an amazing in-ring talent. I'd like to see him get a little bit of an edge. We'll see what happens with this latest turn. It looks like he might be headed heel. So that's kind of them trying to sign some new talent. But Robert, now we've been hearing for months that they've got this WrestleCon show, right? And we've been hearing for months they haven't announced any matches and how poorly it's been selling, right? And now all of a sudden, here they come, and they're announcing this dream show with Lucha Underground. So what's the deal with the dream show at Lucha Underground, and when are we going to start to see this dream card take shape? And if you have an update on what's going on with ticket sales, what's up there too?
To be honest, I haven't received any information so far. No updates so far. However, I think they should announce a match, at least one of the matches that is gonna be happening, as soon as possible, because you wanna get, that quick boost of ticket. Which that lead me to a question: what match do you want to see in the card Lucha Underground versus Impact Wrestling? Mine is Pentagon Cero Miedo versus Austin Aries. What is yours?
Wow, that is a great question. I am not a huge Lucha guy, but I know I would definitely want Pentagon in it. But you know what? I'm gonna be a little bit different here. I'm going to say I'd like to see Jack Evans, and I like to see Jack Evans go against, I was going to say Matt Sydal, but let's change it to Desmond Xavier.
That could be good. That could be good. And
to kind of add to your question there, brother _ formerly known as, they're actually going to announce the first names this Thursday at noon Eastern. So I would believe that's going to be the matches. They're going to at least announce a few of the matches. So that kind of answers that. And going back to your last point about Eli Drake, I believe Impact is handing out 1-year deals and 2-year deals. So hopefully they give Eli Drake at least a 2-year deal. I think Moose got a 3-year deal. So if they do the 3-year deals, I think Eli Drake would be a guy that you should definitely give a 3-year deal to. But as far as this show at the Sugar Mill for WrestleCon, I am really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an amazing event. I think we should have more of these type of events with basically everybody who's not WWE trying to work with each other to make wrestling be as strong as possible. And whenever you give WWE a run for their money, it's always a good thing. And history has proven that.
Now, Hurls, Pretty Decay has a question on Twitch, and it is, who do you want to see Eli Drake face from Lucha Underground?
Well, that's a good question. I think if I was running this thing and I was booking it, I would have Eli Drake either face I'd probably have him face maybe Marty the Moth, maybe Killshot. I think that would be an interesting match. I think I could also see them going with possibly against Jack Evans, like you said. Maybe even throw Angelico. I think he's really talented. I think he's a solid worker. And heck, who wouldn't want to see Eli Drake versus Montanza? I mean, that would be an awesome match. So I think any one of those that they put him in, because he's so versatile. He can go toe to toe with any of those guys. And I mean, Eli Drake he's improved so much in the ring. So I'd like to see him go with really anybody.
Now, Robert, Kevin and Pretty Decay are saying that 2 years isn't enough. They'd like to see Eli Drake and Rosemary have 3-year deals that are a little bit tighter, right? What do you think about that restriction? Do you think that that's something that would appeal, a longer term and a tighter contract to them? Or do you think that they might maybe not go for that? I mean, we certainly as fans, that's what we want, right?
I think the basic foundation why talent join Impact Wrestling is because of their freedom, right? You're able to be on television, but you also have your indie bookings. If they are able to manage to get a deal that is long, giving them good amount of money plus good amount of freedom, I think they will be interested. But if they get too, let's use the word draconian, they get too draconian with their contract, talent will get more hesitant unless the money is in. And I don't think for the time being the big time money is in. So it is a catch-22, to be honest. It is a catch-22. I truly do not know, don't have the answer, but it is, you have to get things in balance in order to offer people 3-year contract. Maybe if 3 years from now, Impact Wrestling is back on the road full time, I could see that happen. But for the time being, it is a hard proposition to make.
Yeah, I think for now it's probably difficult, but if they could do it, I would say they should try to do it. At least for those two anyway. But they are doing some other things too, and they filmed a Twitch special on Sunday, and it's going to air this coming Friday. Right now, I guess that's probably the 9th, right? I mean, Hurls, they're doing house shows, they're filming them, and they're putting them on Twitch for everybody to watch. Is this not like a dream? And my follow-up question on this is, why is this not happening on the Global Wrestling Network? Why give it away for free?
Yeah, I think that there's obviously some type of deal that was made between Impact and Twitch. And obviously Impact has been advertising Twitch on their ring aprons. So I think there's possibly some money involved in this. That's my guess as to why they have their own, special shows every month on Twitch. I think that these Twitch shows are going to be awesome. I enjoyed Brace for Impact. It was just your standard house show, but you got to see a lot of talent that you would have never saw before. So, and I looked at this next one, Last Chancery. The card looks pretty solid. There's going to be some really good matches, and I think it's cool because you get to see stuff that you would not be able to see on Impact. And, like the main event, like who would ever thought we'd see Congo Kong versus Matt Sydal versus Austin Aries? Like it's such a random match, but it's cool because you get to see different talents working with each other that you normally wouldn't be able to see. So I am all about these Twitch shows. I hope eventually that these Twitch shows get broadcasted on the network, because I think, if we want to watch them again, we should be able to. So I'm really hoping that they do put them on the network. So maybe that would give you an incentive to get the network if you want to see these shows again.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I kind of look at it as, oh man, they're giving me, they want me to pay for the milk, but they're giving me the cow. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't work. Looking at some of the comments, Pretty Decay and Kevin are having a nice conversation about Rosemary missing these events with the Impact partners. I would remind them that, she did get injured, so she's probably nursing that right now. I don't know how active her schedule has been recently, but maybe somebody can correct me. Robert, what do you have on that? And what do you think about this whole Twitch partnership versus the GWN?
Yeah, I think it is all right. I most of my morning I tune into Twitch just to see random matches, to be honest, because I miss the good old days. As for the shows, I saw the first one, the one that had Scott Demore on commentary, and I'm kind of picky when it comes down to production, so that is not my cup of tea. But there's people who just want to watch wrestling, just want to watch Impact Wrestling. So as long as they're catering to that audience, to that, to that base audience, I have no problem with it, because at the end of the day, that audience who watches every single show acts like the advertisers for the show, because they are gonna post about the show on social media. They're gonna tell their friends about Impact Wrestling, about the changes, and blah blah blah. So as long as you keep those your let's use the term foot soldiers motivated, you're doing the right stuff in order to improve the image of Impact Wrestling. So I might not be a fan of this indie style show, but I have no problem with it, no objection at all.
I love it, and I'll be honest with you, Robert. When I'm not watching Twitch, I seem to be watching Pluto these days. Made a conscious decision a month or so ago that we were going to cut the cord, and I'm on the smart TV in the remote. And it's like I got Hulu over here and I got Twitch over here, and then I got Pluto next to it. And if I don't like what's on Twitch, I catch Pluto. And Pluto's got a ton of good content on it. If you guys have not checked out the Pluto channel, you're really missing out. I mean, between Pluto and Twitch, I have seen so many cool old matches that I forgot ever happened. And they're really engaging. And if you only have 10, 15, 20 minutes to watch, you can catch a match or two. You know what I'm saying? You can catch some of it and then turn it off, and you don't have to feel like you got to watch a full show. So it's really cool. Now, Robert, you mentioned indie events. And I know we cover Impact Wrestling here, but we got to talk about All In, right? Have you heard about All In, right?
Not sure.
Okay, this is the Bucks and Cody, okay, trying to prove that Dave Meltzer, that Ring of Honor, can fill a 10,000-seat arena. And they're going to self-finance this thing. Okay, they're going to use the ROH infrastructure and resources, but they're going to finance this thing, the Bucks and Cody. Okay, they're going to host it in an 11,000-seat arena in Chicago and try to put 10,000 butts in it. What do you think of this? What do you think of this development? First of all, are they able to do it? And second of all, what does it do for wrestling and independent wrestling?
I want to be, a hopeful person, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I know there is a quote that said, "A fool and his money are soon parted." But I don't want to apply that to Cody Rhodes, but it looks like it. Hopefully he doesn't lost money or anything like that, but I don't think I will be amazed if they are able to get 10,000 people on an arena. Even even if they are giving tickets away. Let me use SmackDown as reference. If you go to Twitter or something like that, you're gonna find that SmackDown, a WWE B brand show, is having trouble every single week trying to fill an arena. So if those people who have a show for how long, 20 years on primetime television, are having trouble filling a big arena, what makes me think that the John Bucks and Cody Rhodes are gonna fill a big arena? I am skeptical, and I want them to prove me wrong. I'd be happy if they prove me wrong, but I don't think that is gonna happen. I think they are reaching beyond what they can show. What are your thoughts? Because it is weird. Even Impact Wrestling, what is their biggest gay weight? I think it was Samoa Joe versus Angle, Lockdown 2007, and I think they got like 7K. And man, you have Kurt Angle at the top of the show. He was during his prime time. I don't think they're gonna get a 10,000 seat arena. Do you think they can do it?
I don't think they could give away 10,000 seats. I don't think Raw shows in 10,000 seat arenas every week, right? I don't see where they have the name recognition to drag people out to it. They have a big market, right? And they have that going for them. But I don't know how they promote it enough to get 10,000 people to show up and how much they charge for seats. I'm gonna agree with Kevin to say I don't think they even get the 5,000, right? And Pretty Decay saying, look, territories in WWF, they used to do it every night in the early to mid 80s. They did. They filled those things. There was no other competition, right? I mean, there wasn't like TV all over the place. I couldn't turn on Pluto and get another 200 channels that I didn't already have. But the bottom line is, I think just the fact that they're doing it, and even if they get to 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000, I think it shows that wrestling is alive outside of WWE. And I think it gives us a hope that if you put the show together and you promote it properly, that you can do big things. I think they're going to have a tough time doing it with Ring of Honor. I don't think Ring of Honor really has the infrastructure. I think if they would have aligned themselves with Impact, or Impact has a little bit better production, they have a little bit better, ability to actually put on a higher level show production, right? They would have a better shot at it, and not because of the Impact name, but because of the infrastructure. I don't think that Ring of Honor has that infrastructure, right? New Japan would have been a better one to do it with, right? But they don't really have the base over here to bring that infrastructure all the way over, right? That's why they, they're doing their production with Ring of Honor. So I think they make it? No, I don't. But what I do want to know is Hurls. I mean, yes. Chicago's not too far from you, buddy.
No, I could easily make that trip. I'm not really a huge fan of all the wrestlers that are on it so far. It's just, it's like the friends of Young Bucks and company. I think the big rumor right now is that, since it is in Chicago, they've been asking CM Punk to be a part of this. I think the big rumor is that CM Punk's going to be a part of it. I think CM Punk kind of tarnished his reputation over the last 4 years. I mean, he had that tell-all thing about WWE, which is fine, but the guy kind of seemed like a prima donna to me. And then he goes over to UFC and just absolutely gets destroyed. I think that I don't know if he's going to be as big of a draw as they think he's going to be. If they get 10,000, more power to them. I think I think, since it is in Chicago, it is a pretty good wrestling market. Bound for Glory 2008 or 2007, it was one of those, was in Chicago. They had a pretty strong gate there. I think I'm going to go and say that they're going to at least get 6,000 people. I don't know if they're going to get 10,000, but I think they can draw 6,000 because I think it's going to get enough of the CM Punk fans. It's going to get enough of the Ring of Honor crowd. I think they're going to be able to. I think they'll get at least 6,000 if they could add Lucha Underground talents. If they could add Impact talents, I definitely think they could get it, and that's probably their best bet. So, is it going to make the hour drive to Chicago, which isn't very far? I got to see more, but as of right now, I probably wouldn't go.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand where you're coming from with that. I'd love to see them get as many as they can, just because I think it's good for business in general, right? What's good for them is good for everybody else, and it would be nice to see somebody outside of WWE succeed. But I agree with you. I don't think that they make it. I think they're going to have to put on a heck of a show and get a heck of a lot of good talent coming over from probably from New Japan and others. I don't know who's going to draw from Ring of Honor. That's going to be that amount of folks. So just one other big news item, guys, and the question was, do we cover it here or do we cover it as a part of the show? But it's really more about the news than it is about the match, and that's Sami Callahan and his baseball bat. Right. So as everybody knows, right, this no spoilers here, that Sami Callahan accidentally hit Eddie Edwards in the head with a baseball bat that busted it open, sent him to the hospital. Was it broken orbital, broken nose, broke a bunch of things. And Sami's been going around and pretty much picking a fight with the entire world and saying that he doesn't regret it, type of a thing. So. Hurls, I know you got a pretty strong opinion on this. I think we all have a pretty strong opinion on this one. Break it down for me from exactly, first of all, what happened, where the spot went wrong in your opinion, and then what you think is actually going on, behind the scenes, and what your opinion is on how Sami is acting.
Well, I think there's two ways to kind of look at this. I think some people are taking what he's saying at face value instead of looking at Sami Callahan actually trying to use kayfabe or kayfabe at this. I think a lot of people think he's like actually, telling people what he thinks, and I'm not so sure about that. I think, as far as the whole spot goes, it was a very dangerous spot to do in the first place. The swing of the baseball bat was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like he totally missed that. I want to hope that he was trying to hit the big part of the chair, and not trying to hit the back of it like he did, and then it ricocheted and hit Eddie Edwards square in the eye. But I just think he probably didn't have to use as much force as he did. It was a very dangerous spot. I think a lot could have gone wrong, and it did. But I also think that Sami Callahan probably shouldn't have used as much force as he did. But having said that, from what I hear, he went, afterwards, he went up to Eddie Edwards, and Eddie Edwards said everything was cool. So I don't think there's really anything to really get mad about Sami Callahan for. They talked it over. They're cool with it. If Eddie's cool with it, I think we should all be cool with it because he's the guy who took the hit. So as far as Sami Callahan playing up his heel persona, I like that. I think more wrestlers need to do that instead of breaking character all the time on Twitter. So I don't think everybody should be so sensitive. I get why Jim Cornette was upset about the spot. It makes sense, but I think Sami Callahan playing a heel is. I see no problem with that. I actually like what he's doing there.
So, my opinion, let's talk about this for a second. First of all, anything that could get Jim Cornette mad, obviously have my seal of approval. As for the spot itself, as long as Edwards and Sammy Callahan are okay with it. There's, nobody should be having a problem. And one thing I need to get out of my chest, right, is that notion like Impact Wrestling is somehow immoral for putting an angle that was a botch on TV and, putting that into the masses. Do people forget that World Wrestling Entertainment used Owen Hart breaking Steve Austin's neck to get an angle over and many other things? I think it is, as long as the talent is okay with it, no one should be having an obsession over it, because at the end of the day, they know what's better for them. I finally really, how can I put it, fascinating that out of all the things Impact Wrestling have done in quite a while, this incident gets them on TNC. They even do 2 stories, one with Sammy Callahan, obviously doing a kayfabe promo, and one with Eddie Edwards explaining the accident and the botch. So it is a win situation, whatever way you look at it. And now, will you see Impact Wrestling pushing this feud towards a later spot on the card? Or do you see this as just a mid-card feud? What are your thoughts, Harold, on that?
Well, I think that they're already kind of going full force with this feud already, and I'm sure something's going to happen at Redemption. Past that, I don't know. I mean, all I know is that this incident got a lot of attention. It definitely could make more people watch Impact because of it. Because hey, maybe they forgot about Impact or whatever. Maybe they want to see where this goes. I think in terms of that, I think it's only a positive, and it's going to intensify the feud. I mean, whenever Sammy Callahan did the right thing here, because if he apologizes to Eddie Edwards on Twitter and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry," like what kind of heel does that make him? Sammy Callahan actually understands the old school style, and that's what you want to do. Play the heel at all times. Who cares about this PC crowd that wants everything to be, so protected? I think that what he did is, I think it's awesome, and Eddie Edwards is fine with it. And if anything, they understand that this is going to give them fuel for their feud going forward. Yes, so I think this feud could go longer than even Redemption if done right.
I'm going to call a spade a spade. I think they're just building this thing up to be a money feud for a really long time, right? So let's talk about the two things. And first of all, I kind of see both sides on this. I kind of get tired of people saying the words, "It's not Sammy Callahan's fault." He had a baseball bat in his hand, right? As others have said, and I believe, I want to make sure that I get this right, it was Pretty Decay said, turn a chair the other way and protect the guy's head, right? Would be a great way to do it, Pretty Decay. I agree with that. Another thing would simply be, don't hit the bat that close to the edge of the chair, right? Come down where the chair legs meet in the back, and then when the bat slides, it'll slide the other way. That having been said, guys, he made a mistake, right? And mistakes happen. I'm pretty sure he'll do it differently next time. And if you look, the look on his face when it happens, it just spoke volumes about how he felt, right? He was smart though, Hurls. He did. He went right back in the character. But it took him a second. I mean, he was like, holy shit, what the fuck did I just do, right? And so that shows that he didn't do it intentionally. I think we all know he didn't do it intentionally, right? So to be fair to the folks that are giving him grief, yes, it was sloppy. He made a mistake. But to everybody else's point, it happens, right? I mean, we hear about, Owen Hart breaking Steve Austin's, his neck. We hear about lots of other injuries that happen. I mean, poor Owen, he fell out of the ceiling to his death, right? Nobody went to jail for it because it was a freaking accident. And I feel like, Hurls, you hit the nail on the head with this. Sammy Callahan's looking at this and he's going, oh my God, I just hurt this poor man, right? So how about if I make it right to him? I'm going to make it right to him and making it money. I'm going to make money for him. Let's take this and let's go ahead and try to make as much money off of this thing as we possibly freaking can. Okay. So what's he do? Is he going to go online and is he going to apologize? Hell no. First of all, heels don't apologize. They're not pussies. Okay. We have far too much of that in our society right now. Everybody has to figure out exactly how the next guy is going to respond. And the truth is, he didn't mean anything by it. It was an accident. It was a freaking accident. So get over yourselves already. Right. So like I said, I see both sides of it, but I love the fact that we finally have an old school heel. Okay. And the bottom line is that he is old school and I became a huge freaking Sammy Callahan fan out of this because he's one of the few guys that actually gets it anymore. He has taken this and he's now living this. He is the embodiment, right, of the baseball bat murderer. He's saying that he's going to go and he's going to take and he's going to make baseball bats and sell T-shirts, hats, scarves, whatever the heck they are, right? Probably toilet paper. He's going to make money off of it, guys. And to me, that is what this business is all about. It's about making money. And let me tell you something. That show that we're talking about, that All-In show, you put Sammy Callahan and Eddie Edwards on it, you're going to draw more people. Okay? And that's because he's making it money, and he's trying to make money for himself. And as a consequence, Eddie Edwards, who got hit by a baseball bat, he deserves to cash in. Now, guys, we go from this and somebody doing every single thing right to the show itself. And the show itself starts off with a match that I wish they just wouldn't have even aired. I'm not even going to lie. I wish they hadn't aired this. It's EC3 versus Tyrus. Okay. Now, Robert, there's a lot going on in this match. And in my opinion, it is all wrong. Tell me that I'm wrong about EC3 versus Tyrus. Robert?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. So let me explain you why you are wrong. Simple. It is a simple equation. Watson, right? In 3 months from here, who is going to be in the company? Tyrus or EC3? If you say neither, that would be a great answer.
I'm talking about the outcome. I'm talking about the match and how the match itself went down. I mean, EC3 can't get a win here, right? He can't get a win at all. But I'm talking about the match itself.
Yeah, the match was not good. There's no way. There's no way around it. But Tyrus won. I think he was the right man because at the end of the day, he's the one staying. I like his finisher, his new finisher. But outside of that, I don't think I cannot come out with an argument defending this match. Good.
Oh man, Hurls, you got to have something good to say about this match.
Well, I mean, I will say that it's kind of what you do when someone leaves the company is you put over the people who are still with the company and who still have, a future there. So in that regard, EC3, Impact, doing the right thing. Secondly, I think EC3 and Tyrus are, they're pretty good friends. So I think EC3 kind of wanted to give his man a little, some props. And I don't know about you guys. I don't know how many of the conference calls you listen to, but Tyrus, you know, he thinks pretty highly of himself, you know. I guess as a wrestler you should, but I talked last week about, you know, what I thought of Tyrus, and it wasn't very promising. I thought that he should be in a tag team, but Tyrus thinks he wants to go solo for this run, and I don't really know anyone that wants to see him solo. I mean, he's a big guy, but man, I mean, he's not even like an earthquake guy who can move. He's not even a Samoa Joe. He's just too slow, and he's older. He's an older wrestler now. I don't think, besides maybe winning the Grand Championship, I don't think there's going to be much titles for Tyrus in the future. Like, I respect him. He's gotten some better shape. He talked about that on the teleconference. But I don't really see much of a future for Tyrus. And in EC3, he's NXT bound. So I get why, you know, Tyrus won the match. Was it a great match? No. Was it terrible? No. It was just kind of there. I know a lot of people were upset about it, but I was not one of them because I feel like EC3 shouldn't win here. And I know it's Tyrus, and I know a lot of people don't like him, but EC3 going over while he's leaving doesn't do anything good. So I'm okay with this. It wasn't the best, but I'm all right with it.
I hated the match because, first of all, I mean, you know, you said it pretty succinctly, Hurls. Tyrus is slow. He's not the greatest in-ring performer. But EC3, watching him in that match is like taking my fingernails and just scratching them on the damn chalkboard. The guy was literally in, I've got one more night left, and then I'm done, so I'm screwing off now mode. That was it. It's like your last week at a job, right? You tied everything up, you passed all your work off, and you're just going to sit around that last week and you're doing nothing. That's exactly what EC3 was doing. Nothing. You know, yes, he grabbed the guy's cell phone, and that was kind of funny, but he walked and he went around that ring like a complete clown. He embarrassed himself. That match was so embarrassing from his perspective. Then he goes out and he just gets squashed by, of all people, Tyrus, the guy who is known more for his Bose headphones than anything he's ever done in the ring.
Okay? Impact, dude. I got to ask you a question.
All right, hit me.
Do you think that EC3 screwed off by himself, or do you think this was talked about with an agent before the match?
You know, I don't know. I don't know. But I don't know that anybody would have cared if he would have said, I'm just going to screw off. They would have just been like, you know what, just be done. I feel like he screwed off the last year, though. I mean, we've talked about this. I feel like he's been dialing it in for a year, and I feel like he was just, I'm done now. He probably told the agent, hey, you know what, we're going to go along. We're going to do a comedy segment. And the agent's probably like, yeah, well, we're making you get squashed by Tyrus anyway, so okay. Sell it however you want. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think your point's pretty valid, Hurls, to be honest with you, that, hey, if they said it's all right. At the same point in time, I mean, it was just terrible. It was just terrible. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. And that's not really a guy that maybe he's just got a big ego about himself. But if I'm a wrestler and I'm leaving the company, I'm giving it my all on the way out because I'm not going to burn any bridges in case I want to come back or I need to come back, either or. So it kind of lowers his respect for me.
I kind of felt like he was just trying to avoid getting hurt. I felt like he was like, how quick can I get the Full Sail? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get hurt. I want to get to NXT and just be done with this place. I can't stand it here. I agree with you. Don't burn your bridges on your way out. That's why the idea is you pass all of your work off and then you sit around for the last week. You don't just screw off and don't pass your work off. You see what I'm saying? So to me, he started burning his bridges over a year ago when he acted very unprofessionally. And Pretty Decay, I see your comment there. You hit the nail on the head. He was very unprofessional, and he's been very unprofessional for quite some time with the tweeting about NXT constantly, to the point of where he literally just came a problem to the company. And so, get him out of there. I get tired. I get sick and tired, guys, of hearing people defend the guy because he hasn't done anything to make me want to defend him. But his performance in this match was just pathetic. I mean, Tyrus was Tyrus. You don't have a whole lot of expectations for Tyrus. You know what I'm saying? He's got a great look. Tyrus could be just a complete monster if he could just act like a monster, right? I mean, him and Congo Kong. I hate to say it, guys, as a tag team. I know he doesn't want to hear that, but him and Congo Kong as a tag team, they could be formidable opponents that could really make you think they're going to win the tag titles every time they go out there. And he could be a Congo Kong type of guy who's intimidating, but he's not. He's a guy that, you would not be afraid to see in the dark alley if you knew who he was, and that's a shame because he's got that special look. So we go from what I consider to be a complete disaster, okay, to Phantasma versus Braxton Sutter. And guys, Phantasma and Braxton Sutter actually had a pretty decent match this week, right? Braxton tries to cheat a couple times, but he puts on a pretty good match. And you're saying to yourself, are they finally doing something with Braxton Sutter? Then he gets on the mic and he starts to talk and he gives a pretty decent promo. For Braxton Sutter, of course. I mean, he's no Eli Drake, but he gives a pretty decent promo. And then it happens. Brian Cage's music hits and he gets squashed in 30 seconds, right? So Braxton's night just went from good to bad when he lost to worse when Cage squashed him. Now, Robert, what's your take on this segment and how they transitioned and brought Cage in?
As for Hijo del Fantasma, he's a great performer always. I haven't seen actually a bad match from him in quite a while. He's a pretty solid worker. As for Braxton Sutter, I think that being a heel add more, how can you say, character. Let's not, use the, vanilla midget type of deal. But he was pretty vanilla when he was, a clean cut baby face. As for the transition with Cage, it was like good for Cage, obviously. But Braxton, he ended up looking like a total loser, especially at the end of the night. He reminded me a lot, to Charboy back in the days. Go ahead, Hurdles. Well,
I think the match itself was really good. I don't think we ever looked at Braxton Sutter, a.k.a. Pepper Parks, as a bad wrestler. He's never really been a bad wrestler. He's just been very vanilla, very plain. He's not really had much of a character, and he's had some moments, the one with the alley wedding. I mean, but other than that, he's just kind of been there. And they finally decided to turn him heel. And I think that was a smart move because they've been teasing it for the last, 4 or 5 months, maybe even longer than that. But he's finally a heel. He finally let the crowd know that he's the reason why they came. I thought that was kind of funny. But the other thing with Brian Cage coming out there and just looking like a total beast, I think it just kind of confirms that Braxton Sutter is kind of a comedy character now. And there's nothing wrong with that because, what else are you going to do with the guy? Maybe stick him back in the X division. I don't know. As a serious wrestler, he just wasn't really getting over. So I think at least Impact views him. They're at least giving him something to do. And Brian Cage is a beast. I can't wait to see Brian Cage, get into a legitimate feud with somebody. But I enjoyed this because I don't know. I think it just makes Braxton kind of the goofy heel. So I didn't mind this segment or match. I thought the match was good. And finally, El Hijo del Fantasma finally gets a win because he's been losing the last few weeks. He's a very solid worker. And who doesn't love the arrow from him? That's an awesome move. So I liked it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You talk about Braxton being a comedy character, and I know a lot of people don't like the comedy characters, but and I think of comedy characters, I'm thinking Joseph Park, right? I'm thinking everybody's favorite Grado. I don't know that I see him that way. I think he's just a way to, I don't know. He's probably cheap to bring in because he shares a room with his wife, and maybe doesn't make a whole lot, I don't know what they do with him. I actually read the comments now and I see, Pretty Decay saying he's got a good look. Agreed. He's decent on the mic. I mean, his promo wasn't bad. He's decent in the ring. But I think the problem is that he's never really had character at all. And I don't know whether he translates to a comedy character or not. It might be neat to see him as a manager, managing his wife and maybe a couple of other females. Right, you typically have the the women as valets, make him kind of a valet. I don't know what to do with him, But moving on, we had the Congo Kong and Joseph Park segment, right? Congo Kong and Jimmy Jacobs are hurls. They're still trying to find Abyss, right? For some reason, I think Jimmy Jacobs wants to have the monster versus the monster. So break this one down for me, because this is nothing more, in my opinion, than just a way to advance a feud, right?
Yeah, I think it was more. Don't look at it in terms of a 5-star match. Look at it more as a storyline progression, which is totally fine. I mean, I know exactly where they're going with it, and I have no problems with it. Last week we had the whole Grandma Jenny thing. And by the way, I mentioned that on last week's show, but that was the most highest rated segment for Impact last week. So clearly people do care about this feud. So I don't really have a problem with Congo Kong pretty much squashing Joseph Park, because it advances the storyline and it's going to get to Abyss sooner or later. So I was fine with it. It made sense to me.
I enjoy the part when Jimmy Jacobs was choking Joseph Park. That was done really, really good, and it advanced that storyline. So as for the Grandma Jenny, I was not a big fan of it, but I did enjoy the tactics that they use by trying to bring out the monster Abyss, and the facial expressions done by Jimmy Jacobs during the segment, with Congo Kong choking out Joseph Park and him with the microphone and blah blah blah. This was good. This was solid, and something that helps you look towards the future. That is what mattered the most. The future, the thing that is gonna be happening next week. So you tune in because you are interested in that. Good long-term plan right there.
Yeah, and the next segment they did the same thing, right, Robert? They had the Cult of Lee is having a party, right? And the next thing you know, LAX is crashing the party, and I love that kind of stuff. This is how you're able to bring feuds to life. And you don't have to have every single segment in the ring. So, film on location somewhere, even if it's at the hotel in Orlando, guys. Just film it somewhere and do something fun. And they get the Mumbai Cats there, and they're talking about the Mumbai Cats, and they're apologizing, and next thing you know, Conan shows up, and poof, the Mumbai Cats are LAX, right? This is a really fun segment. I enjoyed it, Robert. What did you think?
Yeah, I like the whole thing. And I don't know if you noticed, but did you saw the type of editing? It was like the whole broken type of deal once again. It was only me, or did you notice the same thing?
It had some semblances. It was a little different, I thought.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like the camera style and the color correction and stuff like that. It was, that vibe. And also I enjoy that. Obviously they are doing stuff with that feud out of location. As you say before me, this was good. This is not the same old stuff that you see, every single week. This is something a little bit more different. So therefore, it keeps things fresh. And that is what should be the goal of Impact Wrestling, keeping things easy to watch and keeping things fresh. Why? Because that is something that the other side of town do not do. And I don't think they will ever be able to do that once again with the size of the company that they have. Go ahead. Oh, hers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Earls, you with us, buddy? Did we lose you?
Go ahead.
All right, we'll get him back. It happens once in a while. We lose Hurls. It happens. Usually, it's actually a Raven effect. I'll go. I like I said, I really enjoyed the segment. I agree with you that I thought that the cut was a little bit different than normal. I wasn't sure if it was quite the same as what they did with some of the broken segments. It wasn't quite the same as what I saw at Slammiversary with Josh and whatnot. But I understand we have Hurls back now. Hurls, yes. Are you with us? All right.
Yes.
Cool.
Here.
Cool.
Yep.
Good to have you back. Welcome.
Thanks. Luckily, it was only 20 seconds, but it's live, people. It's live. Okay, we're live. That's what happens with live shows. No, I thought the segment was good. It's.
Hey, Hurls. Hurls, I got to cut you off, buddy. Yeah, I just want to let you know, Stack Bundles 94 is saying, "Where's Kyle to fap the noise? Fap, fap, fap." I just want to let you know, everybody knows what you were doing in those 20 seconds. Okay, twice. All right.
There you go. There you go. That's for all the Hurlomaniacs out there.
That's right, the Hurlomaniacs. All right, good, buddy.
But no, anyways, the segment was really well done. I love that they're using whatever, hotel for, it just looks good on production. And the Mumbai Cats, like anytime they use them. If you didn't know where the Mumbai Cats came from, they came from Ring Ka King, okay? I'm not sure how many people watched Ring Ka King. I did. I thought it was a very fun show. But I like the fact that, out of all the gimmicks they're using from Ring Ka King, they're using the Mumbai Cats because obviously you can hide people under there and you can use whoever you want. So it kind of makes sense that way. But no, the segment was good. It was a good way for LAX to get some advantage over the Cult of Lee. And I like this feud. I love what Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley are doing. I mean, they're showing character. I mean, who would have thought when these two came in, like they would be in the role they're in? They're almost like in the Edge and Christian type role right now. So I like that, and I like where this feud's going, and I think they're going to have a very entertaining match this coming Thursday at Crossroads.
So from here, guys, we get the women, right? It's interesting that we get, it's not this whole show was a little bit odd in the way they put it together, right? They kind of did a little bit of comedy, and then they had kind of a mid-card match which had some squash, and then they had a little bit of comedy and a little bit of comedy. Now they go to two female segments, right? But we get Rosemary versus Hanya, and the rub on this, guys, is nobody really cared about this match because everybody knows Hanya's gone. Right. I have to be honest with you. I didn't pay as much attention to it as I probably should have for that simple reason. It wasn't a bad match. No, not at all. But Rosemary did her thing. And, I always enjoy watching Rosemary do her thing. But to me, the big thing in this match, what really got me was afterwards when Taya returned. Taya Taya just comes off as a star. The way she carries herself, she's just a total star, right? And it's getting to irritate me that she's always getting the upper hand on Rosemary. Virtually every time, Hurls, I get Taya going over Rosemary. And I think that's intentional. I think they're really trying to build her up as the one that Rosemary has trouble getting over on. So when they have that final blow-off match, Rosemary can win it. But that's just my opinion. Hurls, I know you love your knockouts and everything else women related and fapping related. But what do you got on this one, buddy?
Well, as far as Anaya goes, I'm going to miss seeing that booty because that's a nice looking booty. But other than that, she kind of seemed like, she has a pretty bad attitude and she's pretty stuck on herself. So she wasn't a terrible wrestler, but I didn't think she was that good for somebody who's in the business as long as she's been in. As far as the match goes, makes sense. Rosemary gets the win. And I gotta say, though, how much did Hanaya piss off Gail Kim to the point where Hanaya doesn't even get a match at Crossroads? Like, this was a feud that's been kind of building up for a long time, and they just kind of blew it off on I don't want to say just a random Impact, but it kind of was. It was like right before the big live or the Impact special. So I think that Hanaya must have just walked in with an attitude, and that was it. Like, they said, okay, this is not somebody we want to invest in. Like, she must have really pissed off somebody. Maybe it was Gail Kim. Maybe it was somebody else. But I agree with you, though, Impact, dude, on the whole Taya Rosemary. They're making this a big deal, and they should. Because Taya's coming in as a dominant heel. And I think they're trying to make Rosemary, the odds are stacked against her. And that's exactly what they should be doing because they need to build up Taya. She hasn't been in Impact that long. Rosemary's established. She's kind of the ultra baby face at this point. So I like what they're doing in this feud. And who knows? I think this one could go down to Slammiversary because these two have, they were supposed to have their match at Bound for Glory, but that didn't happen. So why not give them a big profile match at Slammiversary, maybe when Rosemary finally wins?
Let me give you my unfiltered thoughts on this match, right? As for Hania, she always seems off of her game ever since she came into the company. As for Rosemary during that match, she looks motivated during that match. She was, selling her character. She reminded me like when you were playing like N64, like No Mercy, like you did like your move and then you taunt to the crowd to get your meter up. It was like that. I was like laughing watching the match because it reminded me of that. As for the aftermath, shenanigans, right? It was interesting. Why? Because these are like new eyes on Taya because I didn't get to see her when she came in first to Impact Wrestling because I didn't have like electricity. However, I knew about her from AAA. Therefore, I did not have that bias or that back story of knowing that Taya always got a hand upon, Rosemary. So I am more than interested into seeing that feud redevelop, and finally we could get to see a good match between Rosemary and Taya. And I think that could be one of those matches that might end up being one of the top 5 or top 10 best matches during the whole year. Just do, first of all, the characters, and number 2, the talent that those characters have inside and outside of the ring. So I'm looking forward, and hopefully you're right. We are able to see this match once again on pay-per-view. Hopefully 2 pay-per-views, Redemption and a Slammiversary.
Now we go from this to a segment which I just thought was a lot of fun, and I got to tell you guys that are listening that Robert got to listen to this and watch this show before I did, and he's messaging me, and he says, "Watch this segment carefully. Something really funny is going to happen. There's something that's up, right, Robert?" And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to miss it. Because I usually wind up missing these things, guys. It's just the way that it works. And then I watch it, right? And here she comes out, and she's marrying the belt. But she really wants to find out if there's anybody that objects. And good old Braxton comes out, right? And Braxton's night went from having a good match to losing it. So it went from good to bad. Then it got ugly with Brian Cage. And then he just gets shit all over and pissed on by Laurel Van Ness when Laurel Van Ness is just like, get out of here, and kicks him out of the ring. And at the very same time that happens, who's coming up from behind her? Allie. Okay, Allie, the one he was supposedly broken up with, who is so heartbroken over him, she pays no attention to the fact that Braxton Sutter is out there. She couldn't give it a shit less. And then they proceed to have their fight, because I mean, this is what's going to happen. You're actually going to marry a belt. I mean, I get it. It's 2018. This shit happens. But Braxton Sutter's night went from a good match with a bad ending to just getting the crap kicked out of him. He comes out in a neck brace. He gets beat up by a girl, and the other girl that he was in love with and was supposedly so in love with him doesn't even acknowledge his existence. Allie literally would not acknowledge his existence. To me, and it was a fun segment on a lot of notes. And KM was great too, Robert. But I gotta tell you, the way they treated Braxton Sutter was probably one of the best writing jobs. If you ever wanted to just take a talent and just I'm sorry, your career is over now, this is the way to do it. Robert, man, you gotta agree with that, right, buddy?
Yeah. It is showing that this booking thing actually pays attention to details. That is something that it was detail oriented, and it was fun. I was laughing because not even Ali cared about him. Like, he was, the biggest loser of the night. What are your thoughts, Earl, on this whole segment?
This was a great segment. I love the fact that Laurel Van Ness has so many times that she actually had to title. I love that fact that Braxton Sutter came out there and just was completely embarrassed. Nothing was going right for him. I was doing live updates on Facebook talking about the show, and I said as one of my updates that if you are having a bad day, stop, because you could be Braxton Sutter. Who else had a worse day than him that day? I don't know. But that's kind of where they're going with his character. They're making him kind of a goofy heel, and that stuff's just funny. It's just flat out funny. I mean, you're right, though, Impact Dude. The attention to detail of Allie not even acknowledging him was just great. I mean, it was just awesome. And it truly is Thursday Night Kimpact. KM, get it? But no, that segment was good. I would love to see them do more. I think the storyline was great, and I can't wait to see the match between Allie and Laurel Van Ness. I think it's going to be solid. I think they built this feud very well. The storytelling is good. Another really solid segment for Impact.
Yeah, it was definitely good. And I got to tell you, as good as it was, typically you get a segment like that and the main event can't live up to it, right? But I got to tell you guys, this Sami Callahan and Eddie Edwards match, baseball bat or no baseball bat, it tore the house down, right? They would never have main evented if it hadn't been for the baseball bat incident. It just wouldn't have happened. They would have put something else in that spot instead. right? Because if you look at this card, this is a good card, and they're the biggest, the best ratings they've had in like 7 or 8 months, right? It wasn't really very good. I mean, EC3 and Tyrus, that was a terrible match, right? Phantasm and Braxton Sutter, not big names. Congo Kong and Joe Park, yeah. Rosemary versus an unknown, right? And then LVN gets married to a title belt. But this match, this entire show deserved the ratings. And this match, it delivered. It was a fantastic match from start to end. Those guys, from the suicide dive to the next suicide. I mean, they just went at it from beginning to end. Both performers put their all in, and I really feel like, their ability to get over was predicated by the work that they put in. Robert, would you agree with that?
Yeah. I agree with that. Go ahead, Hurdles. What are your thoughts on it?
This was an awesome main event. These two had really intense. You could tell the moves they were doing looked intense. Everything about it was really good. I thought the main event was it was an awesome wrestling match. And besides the spot from hell, this match was really good. And I knew once Impact signed Sami Callahan that this guy can go. He's been really good everywhere he's been. So I'm not surprised that he can deliver such a great match. And I don't really care what anybody says. I don't think he's not safe to work with. I mean, how many other incidents has he had? Maybe he's had more. I don't know. But
he made a mistake. Look, guys, just to throw this out there, you're a professional wrestler. You're thinking about becoming a professional wrestler. Don't let anybody swing a baseball bat at your face. This is not a good idea. So don't do that.
Right. Do it.
Service announcement from the Heelcast.
Do it the Sting way. Just hit him in the gut with it. That's probably a little bit better option. Or use a gimmick bat maybe. Maybe that would be a little better. I don't know. But the match was really good. I thought Impact as a whole was really good. I thought it was a really good Impact, and there was a little bit of everything for everybody. If you like storylines, you got it. If you liked really good wrestling, you got it. If you liked good promos, you got it. I thought this Impact was really well-rounded, and I think it really sold next week's show, Crossroads. So this match, the main event, I give it a good, for a TV main event, I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. And that's what I'd give Impact. I'd give Impact an 8 out of 10 because I thought it was a really good show.
Yeah, that main event was solid, and they managed to had a good wrestling match between Eddie Edwards and Sami Callahan. And after that, the accident happened, but they made the best out of it. They also added OBE and Bobby Lashley, backstage fighting. And, the ending was with, obviously, Sami Callahan with his infamous bat standing tall. So that is a solid hookup for next week. As for the ratings, because this was the highest rated show since Alberto El Patron and LAX and their angle that they have in June. This was the best, rated show, right? And why it's my theory on that. I think it was because it have 2 back-to-back segments with the knockouts, especially at the top of the hour. And they usually help Impact get that bump into having a good number. Hopefully, they're able to either maintain that number or improve it during this week show, Crossroads.
Yeah, I agree. This was a great show. I would also give it an 8 out of 10. That seems to be pretty popular. Looking Pretty Decay was saying the same thing. He gave it an 8 out of 10 on the survey. It really was that good. And it wasn't star-studded. And, they didn't have, super huge names on the show, but they didn't need to. They put on a great product, and it showed in the ratings. And that's what Impact needs to be focused on. Just put out a great product every single week, and good things will happen. And I think that's what they're doing. They're doing all the little things that Dixie Carter and previous regimes just couldn't get out of their way. So quick to try to hit that home run that they never did that. And we're seeing that out of Anthem and the crew that's running it. So guys, that brings us to the end of the show. Final parting thoughts. Hurls, you got anything you want to share? Anything to add?
No, I think that I'm very excited for Impact's future. I think finally, I say this a lot of times, but I really do think finally they got their heads on straight. And I think the direction of Scott D'Amore and Don Callis it's probably going to take a little bit before they really like what they're doing, but I think we're headed in the right direction, and I think they're doing some solid work. And I think the whole Twitch thing has been a success. I think the whole teaming up with different promotions is a success. And I think, them going to Windsor for the tapings, I think that's going to be awesome. So, I'm very hopeful for Impact, and I think they actually are starting to get some positive momentum.
How about you, Robert? You got anything you want to add, buddy?
As for my overall thoughts on the show, I think it was a win. It was a pure win all week. If you actually thought about it, you have positive press all around the product, and you had a show that obviously it was not perfect, but it was solid. And then you receive the fruit of your labor with a good response in the ratings. Now, let's just keep that ball rolling. Let's make that an avalanche of success into the future. So far, so good with the new wrestling regime of Scott D'Amore and Baby Heyman, Don Callis. They are doing a good job so far. And hopefully they are able to deliver this week on Crossroads with the main event, Austin Aries versus Johnny Impact.
Yeah, really, really looking forward to this week's show. Super stoked for it. What I'll say is that I would like to see them continue this path. Dixie Carter was always about hitting the home run. And if you listen and you read her backstory, that's kind of what her father did. Her father started a business. It failed. He started another business. He was always looking for that home run. And eventually he got the home run, right? I mean, Panda Energy is a home run by anybody's standards, right? Built a $1 billion company, but he failed so many times. They had their car repossessed on them, right? And didn't have a car. So she's so busy hitting the home run that she didn't do the little things and pay attention to detail. These folks, guys, they're paying attention to detail, doing all the right things. We just need to get them to continue to do the right things. Look, guys, once again, we want to send our best to our good friend, Eli Samuel. Eli Samuel, we wish you a speedy recovery. And we need you to have a speedy recovery because we need this special Spanish podcast that you're going to be doing with our good buddy Robert. So Eli Samuel, get soon, brother. Get well soon. We'll be praying for you here from the Heelcast every day. And we can't wait to get you back into the frame, my friend. So look, folks, that's all we have for this week. Thanks for joining us. It was very special and incredibly fun first live Twitch Heelcast special. Thanks to all of those that joined us in the chat, and we hope to have more folks join us next week. And hopefully we'll do this again and again and again. On behalf of Hurls and Robert, of the entire Heelcast family, we in our host site, impactasylum.net. We wish everybody to have a great week, and we'll catch you next time.